Hello and welcome back to the Chicago Bears Simchise. In year number 2 of this franchise, we ended up going just 5-12, so it was another bad season for us record-wise, but we have started to build up a very talented roster, especially our group of wide receivers. You could actually argue that we have the best group of receivers in all of the NFL. The big problem for us has probably been our defense, in my opinion, especially our pass rushing off the edge. We need to hopefully fix that this offseason. We've already started to make a couple of changes. We fired both our offensive and defensive coordinator and hired Will Hudson to be the new OC and Benjamin Turner to be the new DC. On to the re-signing period. We're actually not going to offer anybody. We're going to let them all hit free agency. We still might go after a couple of them once we take a look and see what the market actually looks like, especially Andrew Beck at fullback. I think he's pretty good, but I want to see what else is out there. We should probably start talking about the draft. I mean, we have a ton of picks in it, including 2 first-rounders, and we have one of those in the top 5. Let's talk about Shane Whitman. He won the award for being the best tackle in all of college football, and you see he has a top 5 projection, has a good skill set, but he's projected to go a little bit before we are going to have a chance to pick him. And that means if we want to draft an offensive lineman in the top 5, it's going to have to be Colin Watkins, or we're going to have to trade up. I don't really like Colin Watkins, to be honest. He's got B awareness, which is fine, B lead block, B run block finesse, and A injury. I just don't think he's going to be that great. How about halfback Justin Carter? He is 6 foot, 221 pounds out of Auburn. He had a good combine besides the 20-yard shuttle, and we already know that he has top 5 talent in the entire draft. The question with him is, do we want to take a running back in the first round? It might not be the best use of our draft picks, especially because there are some other talented running backs in this draft that we could get later. The problem with them, though, is they're not going to be as talented as Justin Carter. I want to talk about Pat Devine, another Devine out of Penn State. The last time we took one, it worked out well for us in our Texans franchise. And you can see that he's a very skilled and talented player, especially for a day 3 projected pick. And if he's available with one of our picks later in the draft, we'll definitely end up taking him. Center Bradley Feldman out of Georgia has a 2nd or 3rd round projection at the number 1 bench press of any center, and he looks like he's going to be a great player besides the stamina. And we do need to add some depth on the interior offensive line, especially with Cody Whitehair getting up in age. Now, the problem with this draft class for us is that there's not really any good edge rushers in it. Even at outside linebacker, they don't really have any good edge rushers available for us to pick. I mean, Lindsay Caldwell could be one, but we still don't really know his pass rushing skills. We don't know the finesse moves or the power moves. He looks like he's got good physicals, and you see he has F zone. And if he doesn't have the ability to rush the quarterback, he's just going to be another Charles Carey, and we do not want to take another one of him. Derek Vickers, kind of the same thing, another 2nd or 3rd round projected pick. He did have a good 40-yard dash time, not the best bench press, A awareness, but again, we don't know the finesse move or the power moves, so we're probably going to have to pass on both of them. On to some coverage linebackers. Jay Sutton out of Louisville. He had honestly a really good combine athletically. He has A awareness, B man, A catching, B tackle. The block shed is a little low. If he could play zone at all, he's going to be a really good player from day 1. Maybe my favorite player in this entire draft so far is Alan Powell out of Penn State. Had a great 40-yard dash bench press combo. Another 2nd or 3rd round projected pick. B block shed, B injury, B play rec, B catching, B man. I mean, you got to like that combination of ratings. He's probably going to be a very good player. Free safety Evan Beckford out of Boston College at only 21 years old. Might have the highest ceiling of any player in this draft class, but I don't want to take him with our first round pick because we just don't know the zone coverage or man coverage, so it would be a huge risk. But if he's available with our 2nd first round pick, then we will definitely take him. Luke Hill, a strong safety out of Louisville, looks also to be very talented. He actually won the award for being the best safety in last year's college football season. A awareness, B zone coverage. So we know a little bit more about him when it comes to the coverage, but I don't think he's going to be as good as Evan Beckford. This draft class overall does not have the best depth in it, so we'll probably try to condense our picks and trade around and just get the guys we want to get. But it's time to get into free agency and put in some offers. Let's start with Alex Highsmith. He is the best available edge rusher in this free agent class. I mean, he's not amazing, but definitely the most talented of any of them in this free agent class, and we kind of have to go for him. Taylor Lewan, we're going to try to get him on a 1-year deal to just add some insurance on this offensive line. Our tackle play has just not been great for our two young guys, Woodson and Jenkins. They just really haven't played well. Darius Slay, I want to bring him in to be cornerback 3. It'd be a 1-year deal for just $8 million. He could still provide some good football. And we do need some depth on the defensive line, so let's try to get Tim Settle. He has good block shed, good power move, good strength, and even good finesse move. It's time for a new kicker here in Chicago. Not that Cairo Santos was bad, but Will Lutz has a stronger leg and still has 91 accuracy, so I want to bring him in. Andrew Beck is actually still one of the best available fullbacks in the free agent market, so we're going to go after him and try to bring him back on a 2-year deal. We do have a need for some depth at running back, specifically on third downs, and J.D. McKissic can still provide that. He's not really a good true running back, but definitely a good third down back. And we also need a new backup quarterback, and why not Nick Mullins? He doesn't have the best throw power, but good accuracy, and also has 75 speed, so we'll go after him. And you can see we're going after a ton of veterans. We're trying to get some wins this season, so let's go ahead and advance on through the first round of free agency and see who we get. And we end up getting Will Lutz, Darius Slay, Alex Highsmith, Taylor Lewan, and Andrew Beck to all accept. That is a lot of talent just added to this roster. Darius Slay is going to be cornerback 3, which means that Byron Murphy will play the slot when all three of them are on the field. Will Lutz, obviously, he's the new kicker. Well, he's going to have to battle Will Foote for that job, but it's probably just going to end up being Will Lutz. And Taylor Lewan is going to be the starting left tackle. He is 33 years old, though, so we do have to at least keep one of our talented young tackles and keep on developing them to replace Lewan when he does retire. And we had to go after Alex Highsmith. I mean, he was the best available pass rusher on the entire market. We do still have an offer out there for Tim Settle, but we're probably going to withdraw it because the Saints have tapped our offer. J.D. McKissic, we still got an offer for him. And Nick Mullins, we're also going to have to withdraw this offer and try to find a different backup quarterback. I think for now, though, we're going to trade Tevin Jenkins. I mean, he hasn't really progressed like I thought he would. You could say he's improved every year, but I mean, he is still giving up double-digit sacks, and that's just not good enough for us. I mean, we're trying to win a Super Bowl in 5 seasons or less here in Chicago. So we're going to try to trade him to the Dolphins for Dom Stockton, who is a very talented player, but just is not seeing the field for him, and he would not see the field anytime soon. We're going to try to do a pick swap involving both of our first-round picks, and we're also going to get a third-round pick, and they will get one of our 7ths, and they will accept the deal. And the reason that we wanted to do that pick swap with our early first-round pick is to make sure we got up in front of the Colts to be able to select Shane Whitman. And if we do select Shane Whitman, he is going to be our starting right tackle, and that would mean that Woodson would be the backup swing tackle at both left and right. And one of those two can replace Taylor Lewan at left tackle once he does end up retiring. Back to free agency, I have a couple of more offers I would like to put out there. One for Alexander Johnson, a veteran linebacker that is still good in coverage as well as against the run. Kenneth Gainwell, he was a backup on our team last year, didn't really play a ton, but he's a good depth running back to have. And the backup quarterback we're going to go after is Jacob Eason. Good throw power. The accuracies are also all pretty balanced. Good speed for a backup. Let's try to bring him in. And we do still have that offer out there for J.D. McKissic. And we end up getting Kenneth Gainwell, Alexander Johnson, Jacob Eason, and J.D. McKissic to all accept. I'm going to throw a couple of lowball offers out there just to see if somebody takes one. We actually end up getting Johnny Hecker on a 1-year deal for $3 million. Now that will end free agency. So let's go ahead and get right into the draft. After that trade with the Dolphins, we got pick number 2. Let's go ahead and select left tackle Shane Whitman. He obviously will slide over to right tackle since we signed Taylor Lewan. Hopefully Whitman can start from day 1 there. Let's go ahead and make him a Chicago Bear, and he has hidden Dev, 88 strength. Hopefully he also has a high overall and can start from day 1. The Cowboys have selected Evan Beckford at pick 9 in the first round, and Luke Hill is off the board to the Bills at pick 11. We're back on the clock, though, at pick 19 in the first round. We're going to go ahead and select Justin Carter. I know I talked about not taking a running back in the first round, but, I mean, he's too talented. Top 5 talent in this draft. He ran even faster at his pro day. He has a ball carrier vision, which means he should sim well. Let's go ahead and draft him. And he has hidden Dev. I was assuming he would. 92 speed, 82 change of directions, a bit low. Let's advance on into the second round where we have the 4th pick in it, and we're going to go ahead and select Alan Powell, that middle linebacker out of Penn State. He was a focus player for us, so we now have him 90% scouted. He ran even faster at his pro day, running a 440 flat, has a zone coverage. I mean, we just absolutely have to take him, and he has hidden def, make it 3 straight hidden def players in this draft. 91 speed. Good luck getting the ball over the middle of the field against him and Roquan Smith. I mentioned condensing our draft picks and trading up to just get who we want to get in this draft class. We're going to do that. We're going to trade up with the Cleveland Browns, getting their 2nd round pick. We gave up a 3rd, 5th, and 7th. And we're going to draft Bradley Feldman, a center out of Georgia who had the best bench press of any center. He does have stamina concerns, but we're going to overlook that. B awareness, A pass block power. Can we make it 4 straight hidden def players? No, only normal dev. He does have 90 strength at least. Hopefully he also has a high overall. Let's trade up again, this time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. To get up to the end of the 2nd round, we're giving up a 3rd and 4th round pick to do so. We're going to take a chance on Lindsay Caldwell, the linebacker out of Notre Dame. We know he had a good combine and he also had a good pro day. We just don't know if he can rush the quarterback or not. If he can't rush the quarterback, he will just be another Charles Carey. But we're going to take a chance on him anyway, and he only has normal dev. Hopefully he has some pass rushing skills, or it's just going to be a wasted pick, to be honest. Let's trade back out of the 3rd round. We're going to send it to the Dallas Cowboys for a future 2nd and a future 4th. I just don't think this draft class has the greatest depth in it. So we're getting out of the 3rd round. We're also going to give up our 4th round pick to get a future 3rd from the Carolina Panthers, as well as a 7th in this year's draft. So now we advance on into the 5th round, and we're going to take another running back. This time George Booker out of Buffalo, a bigger back at 232 pounds. He still has some good speed, good strength, obviously, and he has a 3rd or 4th round talent. Good ball carrier vision, good break tackle, good stiff arm, good trucking. Worst case scenario, he is just a goal line back. And let's just go ahead and take him. He only has normal dev, 90 speed. I guess we'll check out his overall after the draft. Now into the 6th round. I don't know how many good players are really left in this draft class, but we're going to go after Cam Douglas and take a chance on him, a 21-year-old out of Memphis. He had a good bench press, not the greatest speed. The power move, be play rec. We don't know the finesse move or the block shedding or the awareness, but we'll take a chance on him anyway. And he only has normal depth, 78 speed, 82 strength. And now into the 7th round, we actually still have 2 more picks, and we're going to take a chance on Dylan Kelly. He had a 3rd or 4th round projection, but has fallen all the way to the 7th round. Really didn't have a bad pro day or combine, and the skill set doesn't look awful besides the run block power. I mean, why not take a chance on him in the 7th round? Worst case scenario, he's a practice squad player, and he only has normal depth, 88 strength. I guess we'll see what his blocking ratings actually look like. Only 1 more pick to use in this draft class. Let's use it on tight end Isaiah Banks out of NC State. He is undersized at 6'2", 245 pounds, but he makes up for it by having the best speed of any tight end in this draft class, and his bench press isn't even that bad. A catch in traffic, B break tackle. He does have F run block power and F stamina. I just want to take a chance on him though with that athleticism. Maybe he has decent blocking. He does have 82 speed. I guess we can just go ahead and actually check out all of our players now that the draft is over. Let's start with Shane Whitman. He is a 72 overall with, of course, that hidden dev. His pass block finesse is a bit low, and so is his pass block in general, but we're going to give him a chance to start at right tackle. Hopefully he can pay off being the number 2 pick in this last draft. Justin Carter, a 79 overall, very high overall. He should hopefully be a nice 1-2 punch with Alexander Madison. He does need to work on that route running, but overall a pretty solid player. Alan Powell is a 74 overall. Not the greatest block shed, but it's not bad. His zone coverage is pretty good as a starting point, and his man coverage is good as a starting point. He should see the field quite often in his rookie season. Bradley Feldman is a 76 overall, and he could start from day 1 if we really needed him to, but he doesn't have to because we do have a pretty good interior offensive line, so he should be just a good depth player for now. Lindsay Caldwell is a 71 overall, and the pass rushing skills are not exactly there. He definitely needs a lot of work if he's going to be a pass rusher for us. How about George Booker? He is a 69 overall, and honestly, the ratings are not that bad. The change of direction is pretty bad, though. I guess, yeah, he could be maybe on the end of the roster. Cam Douglas, 68 overall, and yeah, he's not very good, to be honest. Good power moves, kind of. That's really about it. He's probably going to end up on the practice squad. How about Dylan Kelly, a 62 overall? How is his blocking? It's not great besides the pass block. It's not terrible, though, for a 7th round pick. I guess we can work on him as well on the practice squad. Isaiah Banks, yeah, he's not very good. Probably not going to make the team, and his run blocking is a lot worse than I thought it would be. Let's check out some of the other players from this draft class. Colin Watkins, Has a 70 overall and isn't a bad player, but he only has normal dev. I'm glad that we ended up with Whitman instead of him. Evan Beckford, however, yeah, we missed on him, man. 81 overall hidden dev. He's a great player. Luke Hill, only normal dev, but he is a 76 overall. I guess his normal dev, though, is probably going to hold him back quite a bit. Derek Vickers, the linebacker we chose not to take a chance on. He has pass rushing skills. That one sucks. How about Pat Devine, a 68 overall, and he ended up on the Vikings of all teams. Unfortunate for us. I guess, though, that's the offseason. Let's advance on into the preseason. And through the preseason, we end up going 2-1, beating the Raiders and Bills, but losing to the Bengals. Jacob Eason in the preseason wasn't too bad, threw 2 interceptions. Not the greatest. And Justin Fields, he had no turnovers. You'll take that. 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. That's just fine with me. How about Justin Carter? Not quite an amazing preseason, but it's fine. Alexander Madison had 3 scores. The run game needs a bit of work, I guess. Darnell Mooney, the only receiver to really do much, 19 catches, 265 yards. The next closest being Marquez Valdes-Scantling with 8 for 95. Bradley Feldman had a great preseason, no sacks allowed in 150 downs played. Shane Whitman did give up 2 sacks in 99 downs played, but he is still probably going to get the start at right tackle. Dom Stockton dominated the preseason, getting 4 sacks in 3 games, and Josh Childers also had 3. Then there's Alan Powell, who led the team with 22 tackles, 2 of them for a loss, and also had an interception. I don't want to forget about Tyler Barkley. He had a pretty great preseason, 14 tackles, 2 interceptions. Right now he is cornerback 4, but he's a pretty good player, and if he's your cornerback 4, you probably have a pretty good secondary. We do have to cut some players and make a couple more moves before we get to the regular season. So let's send Andre Dillard to the Buccaneers for a pick swap. And let's also send Khalil Herbert to the Giants to be the backup behind Saquon Barkley for a pick swap. And a look at the practice squad. You can see some familiar names on here. Marco Fletcher, George Gallimore, Booker, who we just drafted. It's a pretty talented practice squad, which means we probably have a pretty talented team. The plan at running back is to try to split carries the best we can between Carter and Madison. We added O.J. Howard to be the second tight end. He was just out there in free agency. Not the best blocker, but a very athletic tight end. On defense, Dom Stockton will be a starting edge rusher and opposite of Alex Highsmith. Powell is going to be that second linebacker in coverage next to Roquan Smith. I want to get him on the field as much as possible. We have signed Justin Jones to add some depth on the defensive line and Clyde Peterson to be the backup free safety. He has some good zone coverage. The man coverage does need a bit of work. Taking a look at our schedule for the upcoming season, we open against Seattle on the road. Then we take the Packers on in week 2. We have a bunch of Thursday night games this year. Finally, a bye week in week 11. Then we end the season with 4 straight division games, including 2 against the Vikings. Let's get right into the regular season. We have defeated the Seahawks in week 1, winning 24-17. Justin Fields had a pretty solid game, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Went 19 for 30, you'll take that. Darnell Mooney led the team in yards. We had a touchdown from him, Terry McLaurin, and Shadon Alam, of all people. Alexander Madison ended up with the majority of the carries. Hopefully we can get some more for Carter as the season moves along. Dom Stockton had 2 tackles for loss in his first game in Chicago. That's not a bad start for him. And Alan Powell actually led the team with 8 tackles. A good start to his career. It's time to take on the Packers, who won the division last year and went all the way to the NFC Championship game. How are we going to handle them? Well, we actually win, winning 20-14, and now we're 2-0. Justin Fields, another not great game, but he didn't turn the ball over. Only 164 yards. Did have 2 passing touchdowns. They were caught by Fitzgerald and Darnell Mooney, but it was Cole Kmet who led the team in catches and yards. Alexander Madison again led the team in carries and yards. Not the best game from him, though. On defense, Dom Stockton got his first sack as a Chicago Bear, hopefully the first of many. Can we keep up the hot starts and defeat the Rams on Thursday Night Football? No, we lose to them 35-28. They drop us to 2-1. And we got picked apart by Harry Harper, the new quarterback for the Rams. Had 4 touchdowns and no interceptions, compared to Justin Fields, who turned the ball over 2 times and probably cost us the game by doing so. Another nice game for Cole Kmet, at least 7 for 74 and a score. Alexander Madison again led the team in carries and yards. I want to see a couple more carries for Carter to try to balance things out, so we'll probably try and change a couple of things up there. It's time to get into some contract negotiations. Let's start with James Daniels and Eddie Jackson. James Daniels is still only 26 years old, has some fantastic ratings, and I want to keep him around. I mean, look what he's done for us so far in this franchise. No sacks allowed this year. Let's offer him a 3-year deal worth $25 million and see if he wants to stick around in Chicago a bit longer, and he does not accept, so I guess we'll have to keep working on him. Eddie Jackson has now turned 30, but he still has some pretty solid ratings. I'm not expecting him to play like he did back in 2018 at this point anymore, but still, I think he is a solid free safety to have on the team, and he pairs well with Gregory James, so let's try to keep him around on a 4-year deal worth $19 million, and he does accept, so he's going to be sticking around. Let's go ahead and advance through a couple of games, getting through the Falcons and Jaguars. We end up splitting them, beating the Falcons and then losing to the Jaguars on Thursday Night Football, and that's going to put us at 3-2. We are still atop the NFC North, and despite the loss last week to the Jaguars, Gregory James actually earned Defensive Player of the Week for his performance. It's time to start contract negotiations already with Justin Fields, and you can see it's a pretty hefty one. 5 for $128 is what he wants, but we're going to have to pay him. I mean, I want to keep him around, and I want to win a Super Bowl with him. I don't want to draft somebody else and then have to develop them really quickly. You can see he is having a hot start to the season, 11 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. So we'll offer him a 5-year deal worth $125 million and hope to keep him around in Chicago for the long haul, and he is going to decline for now. I guess we're going to have to increase that bonus. Time to get through the Titans game now. Can we defeat Derrick Henry and them? No, it's going to be 2 straight losses as we lose by a field goal. Justin Fields, not a bad game, only 1 pick, I guess, which gives him 3 on the season. O.J. Howard, he stepped up with Cole Kmet out, getting 8 for 80 and a score. That's his first big game for us. And Justin Carter was the lead back in this one. He had a pretty good game, averaging almost 5 yards per carry, but for some reason, Madison got none on the day. Of course, Derrick Henry killed our defense, averaging over 5 yards per carry, and had over 100 yards on the day. Back to negotiations with James Daniels. We're going to up the offer to $27 million over 3 years, and he will accept the offer this time. How about Justin Fields? We increased the signing bonus, lowered the salary a bit. It's still 5 for $125. Will he stick around in Chicago? Yes, Justin Fields is going to be here for the entire franchise now. Shane Whitman has played enough snaps to have his depth trait revealed, and it is superstar, which is great news. That's going to really help out his development. Alan Powell is also superstar dev. I thought he was already a steal regardless of his dev trait, but the fact that it is superstar makes him even more of a steal. Now we are 3-3 on a 2-game losing streak. Can we stop it there? No, we lose to the Bills 21-35, make it 3 straight losses for us. Justin Fields had a good game despite the loss, 3 touchdowns, no picks. I guess he's trying to live up to that contract extension that he just signed. Darnell Mooney had a big game, 9 for 104 and 2 scores. It looks like the ground game was not very good in this one, under 3 yards a carry for Justin Carter. We do bounce back and beat the Lions, winning 21-16. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and advance through the Colts and 49ers game and get to the bye week. And we actually beat both of them, so we go from a 3-game losing streak to a 3-game winning streak heading into the bye. Taking a look at the division standings on our bye week, we are atop the NFC North at 6-4. The Packers trying to gain ground on us. And you look at the stats, Fields is having a great year, 25 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions. The yardage total is a little low for this point in the season, but I mean, we're winning games, and he is atop the award for the best quarterback in the NFC, over top of the Packers, Baker Mayfield. Justin Carter and Madison have basically split carries at this point, with Carter doing a bit better, I would say. I mean, it is pretty close, though. And Carter's actually leading the Offensive Rookie of the Year award race in the NFC. How about some receiving stats? Terry McLaurin leading the team in yards and catches, but it's actually Darnell Mooney leading the team in touchdowns. Fitzgerald is having a bit of a down year as wide receiver 3, but again, we're winning games, so I guess it's better than having good stats and losing games. Cole Kmet also having a slightly down year. The offensive line has played great so far. James Daniels leading the way with no sacks allowed on the season all the way in week 11. Hopefully he can keep that up. On defense, yeah, the pass rush is still not looking great. Dom Stockton leading with 3 sacks, Josh Childers with 2.5. Hopefully that picks up down the stretch. While the pass rush hasn't been great, it looks like the run defense has been pretty good. Armon Watts leading the way with 13 tackles for loss, and Josh Childers there in second with 8. And the coverage has also been pretty solid. Jalen Johnson leading the way with 2 interceptions, and a bunch of different guys with 1. I guess we're going to advance on through a couple of more games. Let's see if we can keep the win streak up after the bye week. And we actually keep it up. We win now 6 in a row, defeating the Texans and Giants by 1 score, and then we blow out the Cardinals, winning 31-14. The NFC North is actually down to either us or the Packers. So hopefully we can hang on and win the division and make the postseason. We do have to end the year with 4 straight division games, so who knows what's going to happen. We lose to the Vikings 24-17. They end our win streak at 6. And Justin Fields in this one did not have a good game. No touchdowns, threw an interception. That sucks. And it looks like Scary Terry and all of our top 3 receivers really played well, but we didn't get anything from anybody else. Justin Carter leading the way with 15 for 67 and 4.5 yards per carry, but both touchdowns went to Alexander Madison with a great stat line of 3 carries, 5 yards, and 2 scores. Can we lock up the division and beat the Green Bay Packers and punch our ticket to the postseason? Let's see if we can do it. And we do. We blow them out in Lambeau, winning 42-7. Justin Fields put on a show, 4 touchdowns, no picks, with a 75% completion percentage. You compare that to Baker Mayfield, who had no touchdowns and 3 picks. Not the best game for him or the Packers. Finally, Justin Carter and Alexander Madison split carries, 17 for Carter, 16 for Madison, and they both played pretty well. Randy Moss had a day. Oh wait, that's Andrew Fitzgerald putting up a Randy Moss stat line, 3 for 124 and 2 scores. Mooney, Scary Terry, and Cole Kmet also all scored touchdowns. A bunch of different players with 1 sack, Roquan Smith, Dom Stockton, and Alex Highsmith. And then you had Gregory James picking off Baker Mayfield 2 times, and of all people, Charles Carey getting an interception. Gregory James actually won his 2nd Defensive Player of the Week on the season. He's actually had a pretty good year so far. Hopefully, he can finish off the regular season strong, just like the whole team can, hopefully. 10-5, we are going to be in the postseason, but we do still have some seeding to play for. As of right now, we would be the 2 seed and take on the 49ers, but there are still 2 games to go, so let's go ahead and get through them. We split them, we lose to the Lions, but then at least we end the regular season with a win, beating the Vikings, winning 24-6. We win the division going 11-6. Let's go ahead and check out the end of year stats for us. Justin Fields, 37 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. He had a career high completion percentage, a career high quarterback rating, all around just a fantastic season for him. Checking out how our running back duo did. Justin Carter led the team in carries, yards, yards per carry, and broken tackles. We did find out that he is just star def, but still that doesn't take away from his great rookie season. Alexander Madison as the 2nd running back on the team. He had maybe a better year this year than he did last year when he was the lead back. I guess at least you could argue that, which is, I guess, a sign of how far our offense has come in a year. Now, the receiving yardage totals are not crazy high, but we were winning games, so I guess that doesn't really matter. Scary Terry led the team in catches, yards, and tied for the touchdown lead with Darnell Mooney. Fitzgerald and Cole Kmet also had some okay years, but not quite as good as a year ago. The offensive line really played great all year long. I mean, nobody gave up double-digit sacks. James Daniels didn't give up a single one on the season. Just, yeah, a great year for them for once. Of course, our defense was led by Roquan Smith. He got 107 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and an interception. But how about Gregory James getting over 100 tackles? And he actually led the team with 5 interceptions. And then there was Alan Powell, who couldn't quite get to 100 tackles in his rookie season, but he did finish with 3 interceptions. Overall, a great season from multiple players on our defense. But the pass rush did not pick up. Only 5.5 sacks for Alex Highsmith and 5 for Dom Stockton. How about some positive news? Justin Carter, he actually ended up winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. I didn't expect him to, but yeah, that's great. Unfortunately, Alan Powell is going to finish just shy, getting 2nd for the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Justin Fields did lose the Best Quarterback Award in the NFC to Dak Prescott. And then you had Gregory James finish in 3rd place for the Best Defensive Back in the NFC. So a couple of awards we come up short on, but overall a great year. And we do end up finishing with the 2nd best record in the NFC. And we're going to take on the San Francisco 49ers, who finished the year 9-8. A pretty solid team for a wild card. I mean, they had the number 14 scoring offense, the number 10 scoring defense. We did play them in the regular season, winning 28-21 on Thursday Night Football, that game right before the bye week. So the game plan for our defense is going to be trying to stop that outside run and not let Elijah Mitchell get going. And on offense, we're going to go with throw it medium, hopefully getting the ball off before Nick Bosa can get to Justin Fields and cause problems for our offense. So let's go ahead and advance on and see what happens. And we actually win. We beat the 49ers 28-21, and we'll advance on to the divisional round to face off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The game against the 49ers was a close one, 28-21. The 49ers scored 14 in the fourth quarter, tried to make a comeback, but they came up a bit short. Justin Fields, in his first playoff action, didn't have a crazy good game. He didn't turn the ball over, only 17 pass attempts for him. Trey Lance, not a great game for him, under 60% completion percentage, and he turned the ball over. Our rush attack was pretty balanced in this one, 25 for 85 for Carter, and then 19 for 79 for Madison, and 2 scores. That's exactly what I pictured when we drafted Justin Carter. Cole Kmet actually ended up leading the team in yards and had a touchdown. Then Scary Terry had 1 big catch for 37 yards and another touchdown. Of all people, it was Dom Stockton who got that interception off of Trey Lance. He also had a tackle for loss, so a nice game for him. The Buccaneers, they went 11-6 as well. They have the number 2 scoring offense, the number 8 scoring defense. So a better team than the 49ers, really across the board. They are led by Taylor Heineke at quarterback. And if you remember last year, he had a game against us where he had like 7 passing touchdowns on his way to winning the Offensive Player of the Year in the NFC in 2023. So they're no joke. Leonard Fournette, I mean, look at that stat line. 22 touchdowns, 4 yards a carry, over 1,500 yards. Then you got Godwin. They added TJ Hawkinson to replace Gronkowski. They still got Mike Evans. I mean, their offense is just loaded. I don't know how we're going to try to stop them. Their defense is also really scary. Shaq Barrett, 22 sacks. A couple other guys near 13, including Vita Vea, who's amazing against the run. Devin White in the middle of that defense. He's crazy good. I guess on defense, we're going to defend the medium pass, hopefully not letting Taylor Heineke and the Buccaneers throw it all over us. And then on offense, we're going to go with throw it short, trying to beat that pass rush, get it off as quick as possible. But also, we don't want to throw it at Antoine Winfield over the top or in the medium. We just want to attack their cornerbacks, basically. So let's advance and see what happens. And we actually beat them, winning 28-21, and we will move on to the NFC Championship game to take on the Dallas Cowboys. We are just 1 game away from being in the Super Bowl. So the Buccaneers scored in every quarter but the third. We scored in every quarter, and the third quarter was the difference, I guess. Justin Fields, better in this one, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, an 80% completion percentage. Then you have Taylor Heineke, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Yeah, we definitely defended him much better this time around. That's great. Neither run game was good at all. I mean, Carter under 3 yards a carry, Fournette right at 3 yards a carry. Just, not much from either team there. How about Andrew Fitzgerald, 8 for 126. He didn't have any touchdowns. He had a good game. Mooney scored a touchdown. Madison had 1 through the air. Josh Childers had that sack, 3 tackles for loss. He had a big game. Gregory James, also a nice game, 2 tackles for loss and a pick off of Taylor Heineke on his way to helping us get to the NFC Championship game, where we're matched up with the Dallas Cowboys. They have the number 1 scoring offense, the number 9 scoring defense. They went 13-4. They have Dak Prescott, the quarterback of the year in the NFC, 40 touchdowns to just 12 interceptions, a 70% completion percentage. And then they got Ezekiel Elliott, who broke the single season rushing record with a 7.3 yard per carry average, 22 touchdowns. Amari Cooper, Dalton Schultz, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, you thought the Buccaneers were good. The Cowboys are even better. And on defense, they got Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and then they drafted Derek Vickers, who ended up getting 8.5 sacks. Oh man, this team's really good. Lavonte David, Jabril Cox, both up there with a ton of tackles. Don't forget about Trayvon Diggs, who led the NFL with 6 interceptions. I mean, this is going to be a really tough game. How do you stop their offense? I guess we're going to at least try to slow down Ezekiel Elliott. We'll defend that outside run, and on offense, we're going to try to throw it short and attack their other cornerback, and hopefully not throw it to Trayvon Diggs and let him get an interception. So here it is. Let's see if we can advance on to the Super Bowl, or will we have to try again next year? And we have won. We defeat them 41-35 and move on to the Super Bowl to face off with the Baltimore Ravens. We defeated the Jaguars 35-17. Let's check out this game against the Cowboys. It went to overtime, and we were somehow able to pull it off. I don't know if we won the coin toss or if our defense got a stop. It doesn't look like either defense was doing much stopping. Justin Fields, 3 touchdowns to just 1 interception. Had a pretty low completion percentage. Dak did have a 70% completion percentage, but he did turn it over 1 more time than Justin Fields. Oh my. Ezekiel Elliott's got close to 200 yards, averaging 10.3 yards per carry, 2 scores. Carter, he had a good game. 129 yards, 6.8 yards per carry, 2 scores. Madison, 37, 3.7 per carry, a touchdown of his own. whatever our defense was trying to do to stop Elliott, it obviously did not work. I mean, he had 200 on the ground basically and almost 100 through the air. It's just some terrible defense. Fitzgerald, at least he continues his nice playoff run. Alex Highsmith, when we needed him most, ended up getting 2 sacks. Then you had one from Tom Stockton and Armon Watts. Roquan Smith had one of the interceptions, and the other went to Jalen Johnson. So on this playoff run, we've won all of these games by just 1 score. I don't know if we can keep that up. If we're going to win, we're probably going to have to win by a couple of scores against the Ravens. We're going to have to do it without O.J. Howard. He tore his ACL in that game against the Cowboys. So we're going to sign George Gallimore. He's been on our practice squad for the entire season, and he's going to get a chance to suit up in the Super Bowl. Let's talk about the Ravens. I mean, they do have the number 8 scoring offense, the number 6 scoring defense, but they didn't win their division. That went to the Steelers. So as a wildcard team, they've had this crazy run led by their MVP, Lamar Jackson, who beat out Elliott, who broke that single season rushing record. I don't know exactly how that happened. Let's check out his stats. Well, he did have a pretty good year, 35 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions. He had a 70% completion percentage. How about his rushing stats? He added 11 touchdowns there and nearly 900 yards. I mean, those are pretty good stats, but is that better than what Elliott did? I don't know. Besides Lamar Jackson, this offense is just all right. I mean, their best playmaker is probably Mark Andrews outside of Lamar. Now, their defense, it's pretty similar to ours. They don't have an elite pass rush. I don't know how often it's happened where both teams in the Super Bowl didn't have a guy with double-digit sacks on the year. They also have a pretty good tackling duo in the middle. And then they drafted Paul Mackey a couple of years ago, and he's developed pretty well and has had a good start to his career. So on defense, we're going to try to stop the short pass, hopefully making him chuck it down the field to our pretty good safety duo. And on offense, we're going to go with throw it short. I don't know how well it's going to work. I mean, it has worked out for us well so far, but yeah, I guess it's time to figure out if we're going to have to do this all over again next season, or can we pull it off? And we have won the Super Bowl over the Baltimore Ravens 24-21 with Roquan Smith winning Super Bowl MVP. Let's check out how it went down. And the Ravens scored 11 in the 4th quarter. They almost made a comeback. And it looks like we kind of struggled on offense, but we're somehow able to win. Justin Fields under 150 yards passing. He was efficient though, 15-22 with 2 passing touchdowns. Lamar, he had a pretty efficient game as well, a 75% completion percentage. He did turn it over once though, which may have been the difference. Our ground game was pretty good, 21 for 90 for Justin Carter. Then you had Madison contribute 10 for 50. But look who scored a touchdown, Andrew Beck. In the Super Bowl, we had a fullback touchdown. Hopefully, all the bettors bet on that one. Darnell Mooney, 5 for 56 and a touchdown. Then you had Cole Kmet also get a touchdown, 4 for 21. And it doesn't look like too much really happened in the passing game for us. Alex Highsmith continued his nice playoff run, getting a sack in the Super Bowl. And Roquan Smith, when he picked it off, I guess that sealed his Super Bowl MVP. Maybe he just locked down Mark Andrews and stopped Lamar Jackson from scrambling all over us. That's what I would like to imagine happened. Johnny Hekker, how about his day? 3 punts, 57.7 average, and one of them downed inside the 20. He may have been a big reason why we were able to keep the Ravens from scoring a ton of points. We won all these games by 1 score, so we probably had a bit of luck on this run. But I'd like to imagine that the big turning point was probably hiring a new offensive and defensive coordinator. I think we already had a lot of talent on this roster before this last offseason, but we were able to just add a couple of key pieces that allow us to just, turn the entire thing around. And when you're talking about sustained success, I think this team was built to probably do that. You would need to add a couple of more pieces to keep it up, but overall, this is a pretty well-built roster, in my opinion. And we were able to accomplish our goal of winning a Super Bowl in under 5 seasons here for the Bears. So let me know down below what you thought of this series. I think this is going to be the end, though. Thanks for watching, and I will see you with whatever's next.